Welcome to Gosimcha, the podcast that takes you on an in-depth approach to the Jewish music, entertainment, and simcha world. Now, here's your host, Zeesha Littman. The following episode of Gosimcha, the podcast, is proudly sponsored by Karen Simchas Chassan V'Kala. Karen Simchas Chassan V'Kala was founded over 25 years ago and is based in Brooklyn, New York. KSCVK helps widows, orphans, and people who are in dire need of marrying off a child. Working through their network of vendors, KSCVK ensures that every wedding is just as special as the next. Run by world-renowned party planner Devorah Benjamin, KSCVK takes care that each wedding is as elegant as the next one, ensuring dignity and class through every wedding that they put on. To donate to KSCVK, please visit their website, kscvk.org, today. That's kscvk.org, and help make someone's wedding special. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Gosimcha, the podcast. We are kicking off season 2, episode 4. The previous episodes we've been sitting down with some of the big names in the industry: Avram Fried, Yitzi Berry, Shlomo Simcha. This week we're sitting down with an up-and-coming artist. He's about to release a new album. He's just finished putting everything together. He has been on the scene now for the past several years, originally with some of his original compositions, and you may have seen him at a wedding or two. I'd love to welcome to the show this week Avrumy Holzcler and his producer Pinchas. So it's a pleasure to have you guys both sitting with me on Gosimcha the podcast, episode 4. How are you guys doing today on this wonderful, wonderful day as we head into the summer?
Great.
Yeah, we're fine.
Baruch Hashem. So, Avrumy, I've heard lots about you. I've heard that you're a new up and coming singer. Well, you're not up and coming singer. You've been on the scene for a while, but you're now branching out and starting to work more on your own, less with the choirs. You're in the process of putting out your a new album. So, what's your story? What's your journey? How'd you get to this point in your life and in your musical career?
Yeah, so basically I've been doing music the past 15 years, Baruch Hashem. I started with playing keyboard on events. I was a bucher. I lived in Square, and I did some local gigs in Square and Monsey here and there. Baruch Hashem, it went very well. From there I went into choir, and I've been in choir roughly 10 years. And then roughly a year ago I started going into solo, and Baruch Hashem, now I have weddings and other stuff.
Amazing.
I want to correct you for a second. You spoke about giving out an album. We're not working on an album yet. We're actually working now on a new song upcoming this year, but we're not giving out an album yet.
Chayal.
It was just a single that was released, mamish, now.
Yeah, and hopefully in the coming winter is going to be some other great stuff coming.
That's amazing. So now, Avrumy, how did you get into music? What sparked your interest into starting to play keyboards and then working your way into the choirs and now doing chasanas? What sparked your interest in music?
Okay, so I always loved music since I was a little child. I loved always doing harmony. Harmony was my main thing. Like the first thing, when someone listens to the track, one will hear the melody, another will hear the backup vocals, the drums. I would always hear the chords and the bass, always the harmonies. And I loved it very much. Lipa Shmeltzer years ago, when he was still in Square, he would hire me for when the Rebbe would come to the Chayal yeshiva. I would be singing in the choir, and I always did the harmony. From there, I got a very big passion. And roughly when I was 18, 19, I had a great brother-in-law that pushed me. He kept on telling me, you got to go in officially out there, not just here and there. And Moshe Goldman, of course, you heard about him, right? Zachor.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave out his albums. So he has 2 categories. He has Chagim Zmanim and Kem Shalva. So he was about to give out one. I think it was a Kem Shalva, Shomrim, and that was around 12 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, around 12 to 14 years ago. I don't remember exactly. And at the time, I asked Chaimitzra Goldman, which is his son, he takes care of the studio, whether I could sing with him in the choir. I would love to do it. He got back to me a few months later in Svita. Svita, is one of the hottest times to work on projects. And I sang once, and then another time I came back 3-4 times. I traveled in with a bus from Skve. That's where I grew up, and yeah, and then I went from there.
That's amazing. So you've been doing this now for close to 15 years. You started back when you were younger. Who are some of your major influences growing up in the music scene that really pushed you to get better and keep working on your craft?
You mean like my idols to whom I listened, or like the
Yeah,
one?
who had ashpa on you? Who were some of the people who were mashpia on you in this like musically?
Okay, so listening, I grew up listening a lot to Lipa Shmeltzer, of course. He was also square, and I loved his creative stuff. I don't need to tell you how talented he is. A lot of Lipa Shmeltzer, a lot of course, MBD, Avram Fried, Derry, and yeah, and very much my family, and most importantly, my brother-in-law. And I had also a few other friends that kept on telling me, you got to start doing it here and there, maybe playing, maybe singing, maybe choir. At the time, I didn't know exactly what I want to do, but I knew something music. And then I started with keyboards and so on and so forth, and then later choir, and then solo, yeah.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. Now, I heard that you, on the day of your chasana, you sang a song that you composed yourself, and it was a big hit. So talk about that. What was the story behind that song, behind the Chayal that you composed?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So roughly 8 years ago, I got engaged, and I always composed a little bit. I compose here and there. I don't have much songs. I probably have like 7, 8 finished songs and another tens of tunes. I always say there's 3 parts in a song. There's the Hashem gives you the tunes that comes into your head. Then there's the putting it together, then the polishing. That's the way I see it. But anyway, so I was a chosen, and my shver told me that he wants me to compose a beautiful song for my chasana. And he showed me, he's Latin, so he listened a lot to Latin music. And he showed me a Latin song. And the song was the 4-beat, and it was in a minor, and I figured I'll put it into 6/8 in major, and then add a few parts to it. Why not? Make it a little bit, yeah. So that's what I did. I worked on it a few months, went to the studio, recorded it, and then I sang it at all the music and the backup vocals was pre-recorded, but I sang it on my chasana. And then a good friend of mine that used to live by my father-in-law captured it, and he had his own channel, and he put it on his channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow, it's amazing. Did you never put that on a CD, and you never turned that into a single? It's just kind of been floating around the internet?
Yeah, never got onto a single. It's on YouTube.
A good songs makes his rounds.
That's true. That's very, very true. So now, Pinchas, you've been working with Avrumy now for a while. So how'd you guys get connected?
It's a very interesting story, and I don't know if I can say all the details, but the main detail was it was on a Leil Shishi. We were together in one restaurant eating something, and we
was
went
it
out.
Cholent?
Of course it was, with the kishka.
With the kishka? And the krach and the pickle?
It wasn't that at the time, but yeah, I probably had a pickle, I guess. Yeah, so we went out, me and my friends went out to chill outside, and Avrumy was also there, and we schmoozed. It was a whole kipka outside. And Avrumy is a very nice guy. He's a guy that connects with people right away. He's a very nice person. And in the conversation, suddenly people start leaving, and it ended up me and Avrumy together. Over there, we made our connection. It was about 1.5 years ago. And Avrumy told me that he wants to leave choir. He's thinking of leaving choir for his reasons. People like his solo, how he sings solo, and he wants to be a soloist, and so on and so forth. But he said he needs the help from someone to do his technicals, be on top of it, make sure everything is happening, because he's an artist. He's in music. I am someone that does technicals. What I do for a living is marketing. So he thought maybe we'll be a good match, me and him together, to create something that was impossible for him, but as a team, we can make it happen. So from there, it went on and on until today's day, where we have the single outside and a few stuff coming up for next year, for this year actually, after the summer.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. That's really cool. I see you guys get together and it all works out. It's very, that's how it is with any shitfus. One person you have to know each other's strengths. One person if you know what you're doing on that end, you know how to run the technical side, and he knows how to sing, and that's the best way to do it. It's two shouldn't
very
overlap.
well said. People that know me, sorry for interrupting. People that know me in the industry, like the Chassam Sofer said once, there's a difference between Gaiva and Stolz. What you know well, you're allowed to bring out. So Baruch Hashem, I kind of could say I almost mastered harmony and classical theory. I put in hundreds of hours of music.
That's amazing.
And, Baruch Hashem. And I always figured, like, okay, I have the musical part, but you know how artists are.
Yeah.
They're very creative. They're all over the place. They need someone, okay, tachlis, technical, let's get things done. And he's great at that, and he's great in marketing, and it's a perfect shit.
I'm the same way, my friend. I'm a very creative person. I actually, with my company, my partner, he deals with all the money, deals with all the technical stuff, and I just deal with all the creativity side of things. I cannot deal with money, can't handle money at all. And I know how to make money, but I don't know how to manage it when it comes to a business. Baruch Hashem. But, when you have the right people doing the right tasks and the right things, everything works out very well. And you have the clarity and the headspace to go out there and just create. With that said, we're going to take a quick commercial break to hear a word from our sponsors, Kosher Rika Cruises, and we'll be right back after this message. Join the leader in Glatt Kosher Tours today with Kosher Rika Tours, luxury cruises aboard the most desirable kosher cruise lines in the world. Glatt Kosher gourmet cuisine prepared fresh daily, and world-class scholars and residents aboard every tour. Experience the world with Kosher Rika today. Our tours sell out fast, so book yours today by visiting KOSHERICA.com today. That's kosherrika.com today, and experience the world through Kosher Rika's eyes. And we're back from our quick commercial break, and I was talking with Avrumy about how, having the perfect team around you and the right people really makes all the difference in the world. And so it seems like you're on the right path. It seems like, Baruch Hashem, you're right on the right path. You're right. You're now about to release this new single, and you have the right management behind you. It was released. Baruch Hashem. And it's really cool. Now, I was listening to a lot of your music online, and you have a very, very wonderful voice. And I can tell, as you mentioned, that you do study theory. I also took theory when I was younger, and I'm also a musician, so I understand these things. And your voice is just incredible. The way you give over and the way you sing is just phenomenal. So how long did it take you? Like, when did you want to start getting serious about this and start training yourself technically in terms of music and composition? Like, when did that all start kicking in for you?
I've been thinking about it a long time. I mean, even when Baruch Hashem, I'm very successful in the choir line, as I said before, but, I was focusing more for solo because I figured, I could do more. I never, I was happy where I was, but then I figured it's time to move on. So I always had these thoughts. I listened also a lot to Barry Weber, very influenced from this guy, amazing artist. And what gave me the extra push? I'm thinking. I don't know. I guess I just always had this thoughts, and when I bumped into Pinchas, then like you said before, a lot of pressure went off my shoulders, and I was able to focus only on the artsy part.
That's really cool. Now, when you've been doing weddings now for a while, what is one of the most memorable weddings that you did?
Memorable weddings. I had many different ones. Most of my weddings yet was Litvish, Yeshivish, at some Svardish, but yeah, mainly Litvish and Yeshivish.
That's fun. They like the Chassidish singers.
Yeah, there's two reasons why I love Litvish events, to be honest.
Why?
They're happy with anything. You can sing Tzaveh for 10 times. It's unreal, and everyone is going to compliment you, and they really love Hasidic and Heimish music, almost stärker than the Hasidic. I wouldn't say the real starke Hasidim, but there's a lot of, there's many levels in Hasidic, right? The same like
sure.
And so the real yeshivish world, forget about it. Atoiv, like all these real Heimish Hasidic songs. But even the Litvish world, they really appreciate Hasidic music, yeah.
Yeah.
So I really love every event equally. I love all the musicians. You know, everyone brings their thing to the table, and it's a lot of fun. I've been doing a lot of gigs with Avrumy Rosenfeld, and Lakewood. I've been doing with Yankee Briskman, Dudi Jacoby, many different ones.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's really great. But if you want me to think of a specific wedding, Mamish, I'll tell you, every wedding has its own uniqueness, and I really enjoy every wedding as if it was the first one.
That's great.
Once again, I want to remind Avrumy a wedding that he doesn't remember, but there was once a wedding Avrumy had, and there was a lot of small balls in the hall. I don't know how it's called, plastic, small, colorful balls. It was like, I could say probably over, you remember?
Valley Terrace?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably over 4,000 small balls in the hall. And there's a video of Avrumy. I don't know if he posted it online or not, but he got thrown balls onto the stage, and you see him laughing, and the whole vibe by the chassan, it looks like it was amazing. You know, it was a turnover. 4,000 balls in the hall was something that was next level and was probably not done before or after.
That's so funny. That's so funny. What's the biggest band you've ever played with? Because I see like you play with a lot of big bands. Sometimes you even have, sometimes it's small. What's the biggest band you've ever played with?
Oh, so today's date is very in the productions, right? The keyboard with a lot of other musicians.
Right.
So I've had definitely 5-piece. I remember keyboard, guitar, 2 horns, and a percussion. So that was 5. I had many different productions. Bands I also had a few, Baruch Hashem. Oh, including the one that I shot the video almost 3 years ago, the Alnaras Bowl. That was a huge band with symphony band.
That was an amazing song. That was an absolutely amazing song, because like the way you, again, like I said, the way you sing, like you would never, you can't tell like you have a Haimisha accent, you know, like sometimes when a Haimisha singer sings one of these songs, something like that, like you can hear the Haimisha accent, but with you, it mamash sounded like an Israeli.
Wow. Yeah, thanks. I used to say a funny joke or whatever. I always loved Sephardi music and Israeli stuff. I say I'm a Sephardi trap and Ashkenazi body.
All right. You like spicy gefilte fish?
Yeah, I have this riffs and runs and stuff. Yeah, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. I also listen a lot to Mori Shpiro. Speaking about riffs and runs, I mean, he's a little different. He's not Sephardi. He's probably R&B or something. But it's crazy stuff.
Who, Morty? Morty
is next level.
He's a funny guy. You got the dance moves like him?
Yeah.
He was a great guest. I had him on our show, and I also had his brother. He's a great guest. Now, you know, you've been doing the choirs now for so long. How's it feel to start transitioning from choir to more solo acts? Do you feel it's different? Do you feel it's harder? Like, what's the adjustment?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. People asked me that before. It's very different. It's hard to tell easier or harder. I mean, definitely overall a soloist is clearly harder than a choir for a few reasons. A, you got to run the show. If you're hoarse or if you're not in the mood or something is wrong with you, everything goes south. So that's number one. And it's more achrayas. And from the other side, yeah, it's pretty much everything. It's the song selection, the connecting with the crowd, and the voice lessons, the technical training is a lot more work than choir. I know a lot of choir members that don't ever go to voice lessons. They don't need it. They don't get hoarse. And if they get hoarse, they sleep it over. They have the next day 90% voice. It's okay, but the singer always got to be, 100% sleep enough. A choir member also, don't get me wrong, but overall, yeah, a soloist clearly has a bigger overhead. And choir has the other thing that you got to be in sync. You got to be tight. You can't stick out. Choir is mamash opposite than solo. You also got to have great accent and taste. But from the other side, you can't do any riffs and runs. You got to be boxy as boxy. That's the beauty of choir. Of course, dynamics, of course, stuff. And accent, very important, and heart. But, yeah, overall, solo has a lot more work.
That makes sense. Now, what you mentioned that you have a number of other things in the works. Can you tell us some of that?
Not just yet, to be honest. I mean, we just released it, but we're keeping an eye on it.
You mentioned to us before that you had a number of things in the works. Can you talk about any of that?
Not just yet. We are working on stuff, but definitely, Mi'at Hashem, the next thing is going to be more of an upbeat, whether it's going to be a second dance hit or maybe a live video second dance, or maybe I have my own terminologies. I don't know how other people call it. I call it meal upbeat. Like in meal, you have the slow and the upbeat. The slow is typically ballad, 6/8, 3/4. All the downside. The upbeat could be anything from swing, Latin, bossa. Bossa is Latin, but reggae, funk. Anything towards that side. Oompa, meal disco. So it's going to be definitely somewhere more to the upper side because my previous things was more mellow.
Right.
Al was very Sephardi, but very mellow, and this one is also very heartbreaking, composites and connecting, but yeah, I definitely want to go to the upbeat a little bit.
Nice. You really know your music. You really, really know your music. That's amazing. That's amazing. Like you really, really know your styles and your composition. That's really cool.
It is very important that a person knows like what's his cup of tea and what he connects.
Like I've spoken to some guy. We've had some guys on the show. I asked them, "Are you just a singer, or are you more?" They say they're just a singer. Like some guys don't even they know music, but they don't know composition. They don't know theory. You seem like you're very well rounded in that. That's really cool.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, styles and song lists. Baruch Hashem. It's good that people know that a person knows his strength. I love meal upbeat a lot. Like all these funky and this groovy stuff. I like it a lot.
Right.
Even though it's all more mellow stuff, but if you check out my Instagram and other places, I have a lot of fast and a lot of upbeat. And I definitely want to focus on something upbeat. Yeah, you got to make some colors.
Yeah, Avrumy, people got from him the slow part already, as he calls it, the mellow style music. He wants to show people. I can also go the other way, and can also go the regular fast music that we use.
Not only fast, upbeat. People that know me very well, especially in music, know like to whom I'm listening and what I'm inspired most and what I love most. And like all these major Neginim, as I call it, Yitzi Waldner, call it American pop, Mori Shpiro, Shweki. I listen a lot to the stuff, and I really love this stuff. Again, I also like Marner, and I also like Warm and Kumsitz and Connecting and Sephardi mellow stuff, but yeah, Mi'at Hashem.
So as a classically trained musician and singer, what do you think of all the new Jewish music that's out there in the world, and how the secular world has had some influence on the music that we listen to these days?
I'll tell you. First of all, so I just wanted to upload it today to whatever. I'm working now on uploading to all different music platforms, Apple Music and Spotify, etc. And the person asked me, which genre is it? And I'm like, okay, it's no genre. Make your own. It's either Kumsitz or Jewish pop. Pop is a short for popular, right? It's not really a genre. Every decade it changes.
Right.
And 80s pop was more funky than 2000 pops, which is more electrical EDM.
Right.
So, yeah. So, genre really, I can't really, tell like what genre it is. It's technically a 6/8. More has of a pop feel, Kumsitz feel. But what was your question again? Sorry, I lost it.
Jewish music.
Oh, my Jewish music, yeah. So I love Jewish music. To be honest, I listen more to Sephardi or to major American type of music, like Mori, Ori Davidi, Shweki, Yitzi Waldner, that type of music I love a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like minor and Hasidic songs also. But it's interesting to see how it's always, I say the Goyim always have an influence on Eden, whether you want to admit it or not. Take a look. The Middle Eastern Yidden are listening to Arabic music, right? That's why they give out Hora and all these type of music. Mm-hmm. The Eastern European Yidden were always into marches and waltzes. Why? Because Eastern European were very into marches and waltzes. That's it.
Right.
Not in a bad way, but that's how it works. So people are like, whoa, Mila rock, but all this electrical EDM, like what's going on? It's very simple. Because in America in the 90s, there were rock. Now there's also rock, but EDM is very hot, and electric music is very hot. So the Goyim have it. We have it as well. We try to make it a little Yiddish taste.
Give it a Yiddish tam.
Yiddish tam, yeah.
There you go. So now, Avrumy, if someone wanted to book you for a chasna, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, so there's two ways. Either they call my office. Mrs. Rav takes care of it, as I said, as we spoke before. What's the number?
My number is 646-673-4111. That's 646-673-4111.
And my number is 845-659-7204. 845-659-7204. I prefer when people call rather him, so I could focus on my stuff rather than the bookings. But whatever, they can call me direct also. I'll get through whenever I can.
That's great. So if you heard that, if you guys are interested, anybody's interested in booking Avrumy for the next chasana, he's got a lot to offer. He's an amazing singer, amazing composer, and I think he'll definitely add a lot of flavor to your chasana. Avrumy, it was amazing and a pleasure to have you on my show. I'm really impressed at how much you do in the music world, and how much you know, how much knowledge you have, and how much insight you have into this. And I think it's only going to continue to carry over and see bigger and better things come from you. So Avrumy, it's a pleasure sitting down with you today on Gosimcha the podcast, and I really look forward to hearing bigger, more stuff come out of you.
All right, thanks a million.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking. I didn't have a big part in the interview, but I definitely had the honor to hear it live, and it was very good. It was enjoyable to listen to.
Pinchas, it's a pleasure to have you. So, like I said, I wish you guys tremendous hatzlach in everything you do, and I look forward to hearing good things.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun with you too. And, you don't think about all these details every day. Then you asked me about the song, and I remembered all these details.
Right. 100%.
Okay.
100%. Wonderful. Kultiv.
You've just listened to another wonderful episode of Gosimcha the podcast. For more news, updates, and information on our next episode, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Gosimcha Live, and don't forget to check out the show notes and videos on www.gosimcha.com along with zeradio.com. Thanks for listening, and remember,